Peace, shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum, hotep, namaste, jumbo, ashe, peace, chakra king, all the greetings of love and light. To the darkest minds of the light, I am Napashada. This is the Rise channel. Reality is simulated existence. Just want to say good morning. I think I already said that. Did I? Well, if I didn't, good morning. As you see the title, Peace Lady Kier, peace and love to you and to your husband, Devin. I saw that after I ended the stream. Shout out to Afu Nation. I just want to let y'all know, I never agreed to debate anyone this Saturday. A wild man who can't seem to stop obsessing over me kept calling my name, and I hit a panel with Sonetter and said I was considering debating this wild man, but the wild man wouldn't let me speak. And being the loud, wild donkey, and shout out to the donkeys, a loud, braying, loud, hee-hawing burro. He didn't hear me say, I'm not going to do anything on Saturday. I have plans. So when you hear this wild burro hee-hawing around YouTube saying that I will debate him, just ignore him. Just go, oh, wow. Oh, that's what wild asses do. That's all. Just wanted to put that out there. I'm not debating anybody who can't even control himself. I was going to because he is in desperate need of an ass, get it? Wild ass burro, a donkey. He's in desperate need of a wild ass whipping, but I just, it comes in waves as far as me saying, okay, I'll debate him because he just will not stop talking about it's really at this point, I don't know what I do to certain people on the internet. I mind my business, but certain people will get locked in and they cannot stop doing live streams on me. So, yes, it is, of course. Of course. Who else? Who else is acting like a wild ass donkey? A donkey. So, he tagged me on Facebook early in the morning. I don't know if he ever sleeps. But anyway, that's not my business. What is my business is that he tagged me early this morning on Facebook, talking about join me on the HOK this Saturday. People have lives. Okay. I have children. I have a life. I have something to do on Saturday. Now, if it was a real debate, y'all know, if it was a real profession, I wouldn't be even saying people have lives. But see, if it was a true professional debater, that person wouldn't even be would have let me speak and say, oh, I can't do a debate on Saturday. But not the wild ass donkey. Nope. Not him. Not Donkey Melly. I love you guys. It's real quick. Oh, peace, Caleb. I want to bring this up. Guess who did a response video finally? My brother Cedric. My brother Cedric did. He did a response video. And the response video, I just was like, what? But okay. He tried to be in his best behavior, so I will be in my best behavior, or as best behaved as I can possibly be by saying this. I never said God. I never said anything about God when I talked about the research being done on NDEs and OBEs. I never said that. I never talked about God at all. What I did was show you that Cedric and his people have laughed at astral projection. They've laughed at near-death experiences, and I had to show them that it's real science, meaning real research is going on, and they're looking into this information. The Cedric always tries to act like we have everything figured out. We don't have any of it figured out, but it is a part of mainstream science. So you can no longer, when someone tells you about astral projection, if someone tells you about an out-of-body experience, if someone mentions near-death experiences, you over there with your crew, Cedric, cannot laugh and make fun of them. You did a response saying, we never denied near-death experiences. Like hell you didn't. Everybody knows you and your people mock people when they talk about out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences. I have always taken the position that near-death experiences are real and that consciousness is not only in the brain. Here's another point that I'm going to address that you lied about. Lied. Because you couldn't address me without lying. I never said consciousness is not in the brain. I said consciousness is not only in the brain. So you lied about that. That's a second lie. And I mean lie because you studied my presentations. I showed you Dr. Grayson, and he is a very, very well established psychiatrist. You even said it in your presentation. He's well respected. And yes, he's doing research on NDEs. I showed you DOPS, the Department of Perceptual Studies. I'm going to go in on the whole stream. I'm going to go over your stream and present some more information. But you lied. You shot yourself in the foot agreeing with me that he is a real mainstream scientist, who is respected. Interesting how you left James Tucker out of that. Because see, James Tucker is as explicitly saying, you can't twist his words like you tried to twist Dr. Grayson's. James Tucker is explicitly saying that consciousness is not only in the brain, my friend. But I appreciate the response. And you were saying after Nepal looks at this, she won't want to debate me. You knew that wasn't true. If you want to debate, finally, you're done running, let's debate. But Cedric, I'm going to go over that presentation. It was not, you weren't being honest, put it that way. You obviously need to keep saying God of the gaps. And you kept mentioning that. Interestingly, number one, I never mentioned God when I did my presentation. I mentioned consciousness being researched and near-death experiences being real science, meaning near-death experiences are now researched in mainstream science. You didn't debunk anything I said. You actually came in and supported what I was teaching. You even used the doctor who was the head of Department of Perceptual Studies. Riddle me this, Professor. If Dr. Grayson is if he's the head or the former head of the Department of Perceptual Studies, how is he not aligning with what I'm teaching, which is that consciousness is not just something that's understood and limited to the brain? Dr. Grayson, what you misled people about his studies. Dr. Grayson knows that there is not an answer to consciousness that says, oh, it's just in the brain. That's why he dedicated his life to researching tens of thousands of cases. If I want to be just modest, let's take it down. At least thousands of cases of reincarnation. I noticed you left that part out about him. Why did you do that? I know why. Because you're misleading. You're misleading. You have to mislead the people. You cannot get around my information. My information is airtight, waterproof. It can float from anywhere off the island to the mainland. It stands the test of time. I said that at the University of Virginia, they are researching out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, reincarnation, psychic phenomenon. So yeah, you really used Dr. Grayson? You shouldn't have done that. You couldn't say anything about the Department of Perceptual Studies, I noticed. You think you're clever. I'm much more clever than you are. And I'm honest. I'm honest with the people. You are wrong. You are wrong. But it's going to be fun doing a sit down and presenting more information on the bigger channel. And I'm going to address your whole presentation. Shout out to Miss Tiffany out there, keeping an open mind on the pseudo killers. I can see that. And everyone else out there on the pseudo killers who really is just, listening and learning and sitting back. Cedric is one of the more vocal pseudo killers. I'm not saying Miss Tiffany agrees with me, but it was refreshing to see feminine energy that wasn't bitter and angry and hateful during your presentation, Cedric. So I got to give sisters their props when that is due, when the props are due. Exalt others. Let others exalt you. All right, let's see here. So I'm looking in the chat now. Caleb says, Dr. Bruce Grayson has studied over 8,000, cases of just NDEs. Yes, but I was also saying when I said tens of thousands, I meant the NDEs, the OBEs, the reincarnation. Yes. So just the NDEs alone. Thank you, Caleb. Dr. Grayson has researched thousands of NDE cases. His research has focused on understanding the psychological, neurological, and spiritual impact of NDEs on individuals. Now, this is where Cedric started to mislead people, saying, you're saying it's just, I didn't say anything besides the facts. I didn't say it's only spiritual. Everybody knows my teaching. I have never said consciousness is just in the brain. What I actually said is the studies are beginning with the brain because that's the most that we know. See, we have to start somewhere in the research of consciousness. We have to start somewhere in these phenomenal, with these phenomenal subjects, such as NDEs, OBEs. But we know it all goes back to consciousness. I noticed that you didn't say anything about Max Planck's quote about matter being a derivative of consciousness. And notice that. I noticed that you didn't bring up Dr. James Tucker. When you talked about Chalmers, I don't know what you were doing with that. Let me just remind the brother that. Let me remind you, Cedric, my position is not that consciousness, which you know this, you know very well that I always have said consciousness is in the brain, but not only in the brain. I've quoted Sir Roger Penrose. He has cutting edge research with Dr. Hemmeroff, who is here in Arizona, and they're researching microtubules in the brain. So obviously, I've never said that consciousness is not in the brain. I've said consciousness is not only in the brain, which someone who is with limited understanding of the topic and someone who has not researched the topic as long and as in-depthly as I have, such as my friend Cedric, would go around saying, oh, we figured it out. Consciousness is just in the brain. Notice I didn't make fun of your voice, and I don't make fun of your voice. I do voice impersonations of a lot of people, even people who I do Sonnetter's voice. So people who I'm close to, it's not making fun, but I'm not going to do that. I will be responding with PowerPoint, with information, refuting. Absolutely. You know, I'm going to destroy every single lie and every bit of misleading information that you presented, my friend. And I felt kind of bad because it seems like, what's that song that that Donna Summer sings? That presentation, it looked like you took so long to make it. She says, MacArthur Park is melting in the dark, all the sweet green icing flowing down. Someone left a cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it because it took so long to bake it. And I'll never have that recipe again. Your cake, your presentation is that cake. That's cake, and I'm going to have all that sweet green icing from your presentation washing away when I do an official response. All right, so peace, Mr. Blair. Peace to you, Afu Nation. My brother and sister over there, Afu Nation, doing it right, making all those hits for HOK and obviously for the world, not just HOK. But anyway, I will be addressing Cedric, y'all. Go over there and look at his presentation. Go see everybody who knows me, like who's in the chat right now. You know, I never said consciousness is not in the brain. And you know, I didn't say anything about, oh God. Now wait, let me wait. Oh, I'm glad. Let me clarify. He conflated the information that I showed to prove that it is mainstream science with my position. I'm a theist. I believe in a God. I'm a philosopher. In my teachings, I very much talk about the unfathomable God. That wasn't part of my presentation, Professor. I presented to you and the rest of the island that there is mainstream science being done, research, and there is empirical data, by the way, I will get that for you, on the out-of-body experiences that you and your crew were making fun of and calling pseudo. You literally went and got the information and you took a stick and you busted your own piñata with your presentation by using Dr. Grayson. And then you tried to use a little clip of him, which even in the clip, you can hear that Dr. Grayson aligns more with me and with the visionaries. Shout out to my sister Doc Too Sweet, to my sister Gemini the goddess, and of course my sister Sakina Ra, and my sisters in the chat, Lady Kier, and to Genesis, to Mrs. Graham, H. Millette, Latoya Maat, Benita Sutton, my sister Wigs and Wine. I can't even remember everybody. I hate that I do that, but a lot of people. Peace to you, Latoya. Yes, I never said in my presentation, God this, God that, this research proves that God is real. I never said that. You misrepresented me. I'm being nice, Cedric. I showed you, which now you are starting to say over there on the island, and I'm happy. Let me clap for you. Hold on. Let me round of applause. Right, let's do this. Finally guessing and coming over saying that mainstream science is researching NDEs, because Cedric, you are a bold-faced lie saying that you were not making fun of that, because you were. 2 years ago, when you hit, I think it was 3, when you hit the HOK panel, when I was doing my presentation on consciousness, you had the audacity, you know I love using that word. It makes me feel bougie. You had the audacity. Yes, there are other words I could use, but I love that word. I love how it sounds. You had the audacity to try to hit a panel and say consciousness is only in the brain. That is what sparked our back and forth about consciousness. Then you went to do some research, because I was doing a presentation on near-death experiences, talking about one of my favorite researchers on it, Samparnia, Dr. Samparnia, another mainstream scientist, meaning he is a doctor of he's a specialist in resuscitation. And just like Dr. Grayson, he has an anecdotal experience that he shares, of his own personal story about what made him embark on the journey of studying consciousness outside of the brain. Dr. Grayson does not support your claim that consciousness is only in the brain. Duh. He does research on reincarnation, Cedric. You misled the people by playing the clip where he says you should enjoy this life. It's enriching. Of course, I agree. To know that this life is not just limited to you as something that is so fragile, like material flesh. To know that I am possibly, now this is my teaching, that I am possibly connected to every single thing that is materialized in this realm, in this world. To know that I have a true connection and I share a mind with other things in this world. Of course, it's going to enrich my life. It's going to make me appreciate animals and plants. And hey, you mentioned Chalmers. That was a big mistake. Panpsychism. I'm not saying Chalmers says that rocks have consciousness and a mind, but if you even have any books, which I do, on Chalmers, and if you have any information at all on panpsychism, I do. Several panpsychics, those who subscribe to that philosophy, believe that rocks have consciousness. They're on another level. You didn't want to do that. Peace to my sister, Benita. Good morning, everybody. But I'm going to address it because it's all, the gall. I like that one too. The gall doesn't, to me, hit as hard as but this one is good. The unmitigated gall. How you like that one, Devin? He has the unmitigated gall. I like audacity more, but yes, that one's a good one as well. The gall, the unmitigated gall. So, Yeah, I'm ready to address it. I'm sure everybody would love to see it. But I never said anything about because the research is done, this is proof of God. You got the wrong one. You tried it though. I am a philosopher first, but when it comes to science, I compare myself to Chalmers because and even other philosophers who are truly and seriously looking into consciousness, meaning I listen to all mainstream science and research, which starts in the brain. Duh. But you talked about the hard part of the consciousness conversation. You haven't quite grasped it. Grasped. Come on, Napa. You haven't quite grasped it. That's a tough one. GRASP, grasp. You haven't quite grasped it. It's the it part that's throwing me off. Get it? Grasped it. All right. You haven't taken a hold of the concept enough to understand that we cannot figure out. We got the brain and the material part down for the start of the journey of the research. We're not done. It doesn't end in the brain. And that's what's being called the hard part. Because although we know the mechanisms in the temporoparietal, not the timodoro paraticio, the temporoparietal lobe, we know what's going on in the brain. We can, because of the research, Cedric, that you and your friends were making fun of until I had to show it. You and your friends were pulling research on OBEs and reading the paper Killing Yourselves, killers. When I said, duh, that's the study on OBEs. It's real science. It's no longer pseudo. So I digress. So in that region of the brain, yes, we know all the material side of the research so far, but we cannot, watch this pun. You're going to love this, guys. We cannot wrap our minds around the subjective side. Meaning, to those who just are getting into this, science can't explain how our minds work. See, that is why, Cedric, my friend, I can easily prove to you that consciousness does not only originate and you cannot, let me say this. I didn't want to say reside because that sounds too philosophical. I want to be very scientific. Consciousness does not only exist in the brain, is not only elicited by the brain, if it at all is elicited by the brain. The brain could possibly be a type of receiver. We don't even understand the brain. Don't you dare come in here saying you always do that. Oh, we figured out what gravitons are. Oh, what? The Higgs boson, it's not a particle, it's a field. You were wrong. You don't understand that research. The Higgs field is the field. The Higgs boson is the particle. Okay? You say things like, oh, we know what consciousness is. You think that consciousness is only in the brain because you just keep on getting updates and that's how you think. You're limited, Cedric, and this isn't a diss. You are one of those people who, if mainstream science doesn't say you can be okay with it, you don't talk about it. That's why now you're saying NDEs are real. You never said that. You made fun of me 3 years ago because you weren't doing the research. I was, and I still am. So I can easily prove that consciousness isn't just in the brain because the mind is beyond the brain. And when you, let me go ahead and look at this. When you, I can't, oh my God, I hate getting calls when I'm on live on my phone. But anyway, I don't like it. I shouldn't say hate, but it really bothers me. But it is what it is. That's life. I want to make this clear. You cannot win a debate with me in 2025 trying to prove that consciousness is only in the human brain. You've lost. Sunchild, when he got up there and asked you some very good questions, I never seen better dance moves, Cedric. Okay? You were doing the donkey buck, you were doing the back kick, the pop lock, all kinds of moves you were doing up there. The electric slide. You couldn't answer his question about consciousness and if other non-human organisms and life forms can possibly be conscious. You can't do it. You can't. You're not ready. You are not ready. But it's still going to be fun debating you. Okay? You finally responded, and I'm looking forward to, like I said, going over it. But the mind is the hard part. Yeah, he was dancing with stars, all right. The mind is the hard part you can't get around. The mind is not the brain. We have more than one mind in our existence. We have a mind inside of self and a mind outside of self. I said enough. Oh, what do you mean? My sister Latoya, you don't like when Timotoro Patricio? I thought you wouldn't mind in the cinnamon toasty neri. You don't like cinnamon toasty system? Timotoro Patricio, why do you betray me about consciousness? I trusted you. I trusted you to come out and tell the people that consciousness is only in the brain. Why, Timotoro? Why? Anyway, dove sei, Timotoro? Where are you? Dove sei? Anyway, dove sei is Italian for where are you? Anyways, peace and it's love. And yeah, I do appreciate, I like Cedric. I want to say that. I really do like Cedric a lot. He's cool. He's a cool guy. How could he not be cool, right? He's over there in the island. He's on the island living his best life. And I mean the real island, like where he lives. I don't mean the pseudo Killigan's Island. I mean he lives actually. Cedric, whoever doesn't know this by now, Cedric actually lives on the island. In the island. No, I know he speaks Spanish, so I can assume, but I like it. But I like him as a person trying to manipulate the. He's so projecting. When you guys watch it, if any of you know the channel, you go watch it. He was projecting so hard. He's like, "You're manipulative and you're twisting the truth, and we're going to the truth under fire." Was that like a Freudian slip that you did over there? Or did you know when you said the truth under fire, you're talking about the truth that I'm telling? Because you weren't telling the truth. You couldn't tell the truth. You went and grabbed Dr. Eber. Wait till I show my presentation. You thought you were safe with Dr. Eber because all the pushback that he gets, because now he's campaigning more on a philosophical, metaphysical, from a philosophical and a metaphysical stance, where he used to be a very cut and dry, dare I say, atheistic neuroscientist, I should say. Peace to you, Ben Frank, my brother. Anyway, everybody, it's going to be fun. It's going to be done in love, just like the other one. When I was going in talking about their information, and he's like, you want to show the pseudo killers as aggressive and that we're bullies. Yeah, the whole community knows how y'all roll, right? You are bullies, but guess what? I like to bully bullies. So don't act like somebody was doing something disparaging and indignant. You over there did campaigns on Doc Too Sweet while she's minding her business. You talked about the woman, you ridiculed her, You made fun of her job, if that even is true. And some of you over there said some very unsavory things about the woman, if you recall. But whatever. I'm used to people living in glass houses and then crying because we throw a big boulder through their front window. You know, you can't. Yeah, everybody knows that. See, pseudo killers act like bullies and then play victim afterwards. Facts, no printer. Anyway, I love you guys. Yeah, isn't that funny, Latoya? I want you to have a great day. Yeah, but just letting you know, I'm not doing any debate with him. I'm not doing a debate with him on Saturday for sure. I'm not even debating him at all. After on that panel, he started going wild. Now I'm off of my brother Cedric. I'm not talking about the pause. I'm done speaking on my brother Cedric, the professor. He did do a little at the end. He kept it real nice, but he did say the Muppet Show. Well, yeah, we're going to pull some strings over here and get this whole show dedicated to you, Professor. I'm going to get my show dedicated to you. I'm talking about JJ now, though. I'm going to move from Cedric, who does have some sense at least, and go to talk about the wild donkey. I know it's redundant. JJ 7 clean spirits. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Mandinka. No, we're gonna call him Mandonky Mally. Mandonky Mally was on a panel with me, going wild, braying and kicking and knocking things over, and he he was braying like a donkey. And yeah, I don't care if y'all get that little sound bite and use it. I do not. Y'all know by now I don't care. And I'm not talking to my audience. I'm talking to the haters. But anyway, he was braying like a donkey, talking about how I'm this and I'm that, and I'm jealous of him being a goat. I'm going to ask you again, Mandonky Mally, what is a goat to a god? The answer, a sacrifice. That's what you are. So with that said, I don't mind. No pun intended. We were talking about consciousness. Get it? I don't mind. I'm gonna go though. It's already in. I spent enough time. I gotta get going. And I will see y'all later. Hopefully, I have a full day tomorrow. So Wednesday, hopefully, I can do something. I hope things will be okay. Just gonna start putting the information together to answer. Oh Lord, look at when you call on Asmodeus and his crew, they arrive. I believe this is him, isn't it? Is this man Donkey Mally? Oh, and no, I will not be sending the link. I'm closing the stream, but I'm just letting you know, Mandonky Mally, I did not say I would debate you Saturday. You were braying over me and cursing me out and calling me all kinds of pass around. That's so played out. That's so 2022. But oh, yes, it is. Okay. So, what's a goat to a goddess? What's a goat to a god? Okay? I'm not going to be there because I didn't agree to that. I have things to do on Saturday. But 2019, what was 2019? When people were lying to me, calling me a pass around? Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I've been on this internet for how long, y'all? Teaching on this internet and debating since 2019. It's 6 years. people still have not seen me pass shit around besides ass whippings. Can I get a hello? Only thing I pass around are ass beatings and piñata abuse. Okay, man donkey? So, peace to everybody. Have a great day. Oh my Lord, he called him. All right. Bye. Bye, JJ. Peace, everybody. Have a great day. Peace to the darkest minds of the light.